Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. You see, Naruto, approximately 11 years ago, when you had just been born, a great and powerful nine-tailed demon fox simply named and dubbed Kyuubi attacked. The leader of this village at the time was the fourth Hokage and was considered the greatest of all the Hokages that came before him. After many shinobi and ninja SD trying to stop this great beast, your fourth Hokage called forth a forbidden technique that called forth the death god, who in exchange for the Hokage's life sealed him in newborn child. Should the child S, then the demon inside of him whose life is now connected to the child would then S with his human vessel, said Slade, waiting for this information to sink into the boy's thick skull. Wait a sec. The history books in school and the teachers themselves said that the nine-tailed fox that was Kyuubi was killed by the fourth, not sealed. If what you are telling me is true, then who was this boy Kyuubi was sealed into? Said Naruto, as he had a deep feeling in his gut that he was about to be hit with a bombshell of worry and sadness not caused by expired milk or hate-filled words by villagers. That boy Naruto, that boy that holds the most powerful of all the 9 demon lords of this world, is none other than you, said Slade, pointing to Naruto, who took all of the 10 seconds of silence in the room to properly absorb this information. Naruto was an 11-year-old boy with great dreams and thought nothing could ever stop them from being a reality. Despite the adults' hatred for him, despite the pain they gave him, and despite every obstacle they threw at him. However, the news that Slade had just told him about himself and who was inside was throwing everything into a whole new yet still similar perspective. He now knew why he was hated, why people had hurt him when he was younger, and why he was chased away from people's businesses, their restaurants, and even other kids his or close to his age. So that's why. How do you know all of this? You don't look like a ninja, and I'm pretty sure that old man Hokage would have told me eventually when I was old enough to understand this. Right, said Naruto, making Slade's eye raise up slightly in surprise at the boy's observant skills, seeing as he always seemed oblivious to everything around him, like a certain Hyuga girl who blushed just by merely looking at the boy. First, I would just like to say you are handling this pretty well and not freaking out as I had expected you to. Second, the reason no one has told you was because no one felt you needed to know, possibly out of fear of the Kyuubi waking up. Third, I know these things because, well, you see, gets up from chair, I am the Kyuubi in human form, said Slade, waiting for the kid to have a sparse attack and reach for the sharpest thing near him to K or defend himself. Surprisingly, Naruto just sat there as if lost in his own little world of his, with a shocked and completely horrified, for the first 30 seconds. You did this to me. I hate you, yelled Naruto, dashing forward, fist aiming directly for Slade's slightly surprised face, as he expected the boy to do anything else than this, but the boy was always full of surprises from what he saw through the boy's eyes. Something that was now all too simple to understand for the nine-tailed demon lord, as Naruto's fist collided with Slade's metal masked skull that was followed by another and then another before it was followed up with a vicious roundhouse kick to the temple of human-looking Kyuubi. Naruto was about to finish him off with jackknife jump kick when Slade moved and then caught the attack in a fraction of a second with his right hand before swinging the angry boy into the nearest wall that was on his right before pinning the boy there with the help of his left hand on the boy's T. Then with his arms he maneuvered him to suppress most of the boy's still struggling to fight movements. You need to calm down, Naruto, as I am not the big bad demon you think I am. Hear me out, and if you do not like what you hear, I'll help you end your life, thus ending mine, said Slade, knowing that if he were to ever get on Naruto's good side to trust him, he would have to tell him everything. Naruto eventually stopped struggling almost instantly when he saw into Slade's one eye and saw the pure seriousness of the situation and how serious the man, if he could be called that, was. You got 5 minutes before I find a knife and put it through my tea, said Naruto, not wanting to Slade to think he was just going have time to draw out a lie or two to get him in his favor. That is all the time I need, Naruto, said Slade, smiling behind his metal mask, putting the boy down and gesturing for him to sit on the bed so he could tell his side of the story. Naruto scowled at the man that was Kyuubi, now naming himself Slade, before he finally sat down on the bed while Slade just stood there with his hands behind his back with his eyes slightly narrowed as he stared at him. This is the truth, Naruto. As you know, every Kage before he or she steps down and retires from old age appoints his or her successor to take their place. As you obviously know, the fourth Hokage replaced the third before his untimely and tragic death, at my hands. Due to the fourth's death, the third came out of his retirement to retake his position as Hokage until a new successor could be named, said Slade, wanting the boy to know this one delicate piece at a time. We already went over this in school about the Hokages being nominated, so how is this relevant? Said Naruto, getting slightly impatient with 1.5 minutes gone with 3.5 to go. I'm getting to that, Naruto. You see, at the time of naming a potential successor who would surpass the third Hokage, for when he retired there were 3 possible choices. The first was the fourth Hokage himself. His name was Kazama Arashi. Second was, believe it or not, third Hokage's own student, now Snake Sannin, named Orochimaru, and the third and final candidate was from the Hyuga clan branch family named Hyuga Hisashi, who was the twin brother of the clan head Hyuga Hiyashi. Naturally, as you can tell, Arashi earned the title and honor of being the fourth Hokage as well as the right to being the third successor. However, it did not go so well with the Snake Sannin that was Orochimaru and turned rogue on the village, said Slade, wondering if he could tell Naruto who his father was without having the boy blow a head gasket. So how is this new? We were all told this at the academy. We saw him in what we call a bingo book when it was passed around, said Naruto, who had heard all of this before, though he was slightly curious how Slade, as he called himself, knew about that. Years later, after the Snake Sannin went rogue at the time of my attack, I was in fact on my way here to deliver a special gift to the fourth Hokage, as he was a good dear friend of mine, said Slade, but was interrupted by Naruto, who, when he heard the last few words from Slade, burst out in anger at the man. Liar! You killed the fourth Hokage, how could you be his friend? Said Naruto, who shot out of his bed, looking Slade right in the man's eye, not afraid of him in the least. Let me finish, Naruto, I still have some time left. As I was on my way here to give him my special gift in celebration for his wife, who would soon give birth to a child in a few months, I was intercepted by the snake and he hit me in a surprisingly unstable genjutsu attack. It made me deranged and full of rage as I lashed out at everything and everyone in sight that got too close to me. Though my visions was hazed, I do remember getting a good chunk of the Snake Sannin's ribs before my psychotic episode took complete control over me, that forced me into transforming into my giant demon fox form that everyone in the village remembers me being. After that little event happened, I can even now only just slightly remember following the snake's bloody trail sent to Konoha, thus causing me to kill everything that moved around me. It is quite the opposite of how I am when I fight, and once was before I became the 9-tailed demon fox that everyone has referred to as Kyuubi, said Slade, his voice drifting off slightly as if his last sentence being more of an afterthought. So it this Orochimaru guy's fault. He was the one who made you go crazy attacking the village, and the fourth Hokage making him give up his life for it by sealing you in me. When I find him, I'm going to beat the crap out of him for both you and the fourth Sake. Wait, what did you mean when you said, before I became? That almost sounds as if you were not always a demon, said Naruto with anger and determination in his eyes, but was more surprised by Slade's last few words as was Slade, as he was surprised Naruto picked him up. You'll find, Naruto, that not everyone is as they claim to be in this world of ours. I won't lie to you about this, Naruto, but before I was the 9-tailed fox demon, I was not the most likable guy in my previous life. I did many things, Naruto. Many terrible things that would probably be considered war crimes that would most likely get me executed if I was still human. You see, when I was human, a rather human to be more precise, I had become a servant for a very powerful demon. Of course he was not as powerful as I am now, but still he would be no pushover, that much is for certain. He made a deal with me that helped give me the power to annihilate any and all of my enemies in exchange for my body being alive again, said Slade, remembering how Trigon claimed that due to a technicality the deal he made with the interdimensional demon had become void. What happened? Said Naruto, leaning on the edge of his bed. He felt that for some reason, possibly because he was Kyuubi or rather Slade's vessel, he could tell when the man was lying, and right now, he wasn't. Sigh, let's just say it didn't go the way I had planned, seeing all I wanted in our deal was my body back restored to the way of living. All for naught, as he went back on our deal, forcing me to take more drastic measures to get my living body back. Thus in doing this I had to ensure I had my revenge against him in the end by defeating him. After that I went back to my old lifestyle of being a master industrial saboteur and a pure psychopath. However, even after that things changed as I found out that when I had SD, for a second time. I found out later when I did S for a second time that there was a small, side effect of being empowered by my former master, said Slade as he remembered the second time he SD and felt the change. What happened next? Said Naruto as Slade's tale as it made him understand to a degree about this man and what he was like in his previous life. I changed Naruto. My body as well as my soul went to the 9th level of hell and went into dormancy for several hundred if not thousands of years. When I had awakened I had been reborn as the 9-tailed demon fox known in the mortal world as QB, and at the same time I had become the ruler as well as king of all that is hell. It was then that I learned that my world was no more and things had changed, though for better or for worse I did and still do not know for that matter. So I continued to follow my old habits and did what I normally did as I enter unfamiliar ground, said Slade, who became amused at the boy's interest in his life. What's that? Said Naruto, not realizing the 5-minute mark had long passed and his threat to end his life left his mind completely. What anyone would do in my situation, Naruto. I street USD, plain and simple. I learned all I could of this world that you live in, Naruto, and more. The way humans act and live here in your world, whether it was being just a mere human or ninja. I decided I needed to try and learn all I could when it came to a ninja's skills like your ninjutsu, taijutsu, and of course let's not forget genjutsu. After another 4,000 or 5,000 years I left hell as it was too boring for my taste and went to demon world where all demons go to when not in hell to congregate, as we consider it a home away from home of sorts, said Slade as he now paused as if to think for a minute before returning his eye back to Naruto. How did you meet the 4th Hokage? Said Naruto, knowing he was being selfish in his request to know, but he just had to know. Ah yes, I remember that day quite well, Naruto, as I had been walking in this form you see before you near Konoha to enter it for a good meal and a night rest. I had just killed a group of bandits with by bare hands and taken their money, feeling the need to just spend it all, said Slade, recalling the events of that day when he met Arashi. Flashback. Slade walked through the forest with his blood-covered left hand behind his back with a large sack full of money in his equally bloody right hand. Life had been good to me today. I was able to gain some material wealth and I killed over 20 people today. Life can't any sweeter than this, said Slade out loud as he had always liked the sound of his own voice. Slade stopped when he heard a thump sound of something hitting wood and now turned his attention to the sound of the noise he was hearing. 2989, 2990, 2991, 2992, said a voice counting off after every thump was heard. Someone is training here, but who would in this area? Thought Slade as he narrowed his eye carefully as he leaped from tree to tree till the voice got louder. Slade saw a blonde-haired man in a shadowy black and dark ninja training outfit that by the looks of it was someone of high status in the ninja world. Possibly a Junin, special Junin, or even Anbu from the looks of it, as he had seen what other ninjas wore to tell you what rank they were. 2996, 2997, 2998, 2999, 3000. Said the man with blonde sunlight-colored hair, man finishing his kicks to the nearly destroyed giant tree stump used for training as he wiped sweat off his head just after removing his ninja headband and forehead protector. Slade, feeling he should get to know this mysterious-looking young man, now moved from his position on the tree branch to the ground, and then clapped his hands, making the man he had been watching get into full alert battle-ready form. That was an impressive feat that you just did, kicking that tree 3,000 times. You should feel proud, considering the tree stump can't fight back, said Slade as in his usual mocking way of seeing things. How do you know I wasn't just faking it to make it look like I did it 3,000 times? I doubt you have been here since I started, said the man as his breathing that was once heaving up and down as he panted for breath was now slower, showing Slade that this man had a lot of stamina in him that was beyond that of a normal man. First off, you were and still are slightly sweating heavily, meaning you have been here for a long time, meaning you did perform 3,000 hits on the tree. Secondly, each kick you had landed on the tree stump are all perfectly aligned with marks on the tree, thus meaning that those kicks marked on the tree are yours and yours alone. There is no room to copy the kicks with such equal precision unless you are the one who kicks in that type of form. Third, You admitted it yourself when you said that I had not been here the entire time you were here, meaning that you were the one kicking on the stump all this time up till you reached your 3000th kick, said Slade, as he always had knack for solving such things. Okay, you got me. Now here is my next question. Are you friend, or foe? Said the man with blonde hair, tightening his fighting stance even more so that Slade found it would be hard not to go beyond human strength to penetrate it should they fight. I am hardly your enemy, sir, unless you want me to be. As for being a friend, well, I had never really needed a friend in my life. If I did want to consider having a friend, seeing as you were the first to ask that, I might actually consider it. In fact, you would be the first friend I have had in a long time, said Slade, switching back hands so he could shake the blonde man's hand with his right hand. The blonde man was about to when he noticed the man's right hand as well as the other with the bag of money were covered in now dry blood. I see you got in a fight yourself earlier. Anyone I know, or that might be a ninja or villager back in Kohona? Said the now cautious blonde, eyeing Slade carefully as he was still on edge, and with the bloody hands in front of him it didn't help either. Relax. I just killed some bandits and took their money, seeing as they won't be using it where they are going when 1SS for being like they were. You have nothing to fear from me, and besides I can tell you are someone of considerable rank and power within the village of Kohona, was it? I believe you did mention it more than once. Tell me, what is your name? Said Slade, still holding out his right hand for the man to shake. The name's Arashi. Kazama Arashi, special Junin and Anbu ninja of Kohona, as well as one of the many personal bodyguards to the third Hokage who rules over its people while protecting them, said Arashi, shaking Slade's hand, mixing the sweat on his hand with some of the dried blood of the bandits Slade had killed earlier in his hands. Call me Slade. You seem to be a bit young for being an Anbu, much less that of a high rank as a special Junin. Why are you out here training? I would have thought one such as you would out on a top secret mission by the order of the Hokage, or just relaxing in your home while you had a chance. Said Slade, frowning slightly as to the man's curious and awkward behavior. In a few years from now, Sarutobi, the third Hokage, will retire from his position and will name his successor that will take over after he retires. The village council of elders have approved of the third's potential choices of me as well as 2 other nominees that he has chosen to possibly take his place as Hokage when he retires. The other 2 nominees are Hyuga Hisashi, who is the twin brother of the Hyuga Hiyashi, who is also the head of the noble and esteemed Hyuga clan. Then their final nominee is the third's prized student Orochimaru, who has mastered many jutsus in such a short time with him, said Arashi, seeing Slade nod his head in understanding. You must feel very honored to be nominated for such a thing. Tell me something, out of curiosity, where do you rank out of all 3 of you lined up, skills and all? Said Slade, as he couldn't help but be curious at this, as it was only natural that he should be. As it stands, I currently rank in 2nd place, size, but something is off in me. I feel as if I have been slowly getting weaker, and there is a pain in the back of my end that keeps on springing up from time to time. Hisashi keeps getting stronger along with Orochimaru, and soon they will both be stronger than me by far, and I'll be last among the 3 of us. Not even that super pervert Jiraiya, that is also one of the other 2 of the Hokage's students as well as my sensei, can help me now. Even he's just as baffled as I am on the whole situation, said Arashi, looking slightly depressed, making Slade frown behind his mask, making him narrow his eye rather noticeably. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I feel if I don't I'll regret it later. My instincts have never failed me before, so I should follow them to see where it takes me, thought Slade, realizing he may have to help Arashi and achieve his dream while Slade would try to fulfill his with finally having a worthy apprentice who not betray him like the last 2 did. If you want, I can help you achieve the title of Hokage, as I am a master in a few things as well, and with my teachings I'm sure we can fix your current predicament, said Slade, who saw Arashi have hope in his blue lightning-like eyes. You would teach me? But, you just met me, said Arashi, confused and surprised that a complete stranger would teach him things and help him become Hokage. That is true. Nevertheless, you are my friend Arashi. The first friend I have had for the first time in a long time. Who knows, perhaps we will become more like family as time progresses, said Slade, putting a hand on the man's shoulder before gesturing for both of them to go into Kohona, as they were both kind of filthy from the daily activities being that of both king and training and needed to clean up. End flashback. After that day, Arashi and me slowly became as close as brothers when I was not his secret teacher Naruto. I helped give him the idea for creating the Rasengan and another technique'll help you learn later that he was famous for. And as for the pain he felt on his N, well, we'll discuss that at a later date. I have told you all you need to know, and now I need you to gather what things you cherish, like clothing, money, etc. Valuables of that sort that you hold dear to your heart, and follow me as we are going to be leaving this apartment as well as the complex entirely so we can go see the third Hokage about a new residence to live in, said Slade, getting up and throwing Naruto the same white shirt that the boy had thrown away on the ground before earlier that day. Wait, what? Why? Said Naruto as his thoughts were still absorbing what Slade had just told him, and Slade now telling him to take only his most valuable stuff with him as they leave the apartment has completely blown his mind. Let's just say if all goes well, Naruto, both of us will get what we want. Tell you what, if you listen to me, I'll take you to that ramen shop you love so much. I imagine it will stay open for their best and most loyal customer, said Slade, seeing Naruto's eyes bulge right out of their sockets before he was moving all around his apartment so fast that for a brief moment Slade thought that Arashi was back from the grave. Within a matter of mere minutes, Naruto had one big white plastic bag full of clothes that he would need now or in the future in one hand, and a large cardboard box of things being held by his right arm on his shoulder. All set to go, Slade-sensei, said Naruto eagerly to go, making Slade's eyebrow, if he had one, rise up at the term sensei. Sensei. I haven't been called that since I was teaching Arashi when I was around here in Konoha originally. Nonetheless, I will be teaching the boy as I did him, so it's only fitting and appropriate that I should be called that. Should I tell him who his father is? No. He has absorbed too much information as it is, and if he learns about his father now, he will break what little of his mind he has left. So much like the man, it's almost scary. It would appear this boy will be my last shot at having another apprentice if I remember seeing the seal on the boy's stomach correctly, though I shouldn't worry too much. Even though my presence is making the seal absorb my power into him faster than designed by me being out here, it will not harm the boy. Though I should re-enter eventually, so to give the seal and the poor boy breathing space before doing this takes its toll on him. Unlike Robin or Terra, this time this apprentice will actually listen to me, that is if I do this correctly. It could be difficult with his still unstable one-track ramen eating mind like it was slightly with Arashi, thought Slade as he now watched the boy as he almost hopping off the ground with his feet ready to move forward for some ramen at his favorite place away from home, though by all accounts it would have made a far better home than this rotting dump. Let's go, Naruto, and don't worry about paying as I'll buy. I still have some money from when I first met your father with me. Fortunately, knowing your dining habits when it comes to eating the stuff, I can still afford you and a drink of water for myself all in one, said Slade as he took Naruto's things off his hands as he didn't want anything to be taken from the boy while he was around. Wait, won't people get suspicious of seeing you with, well, me? I mean, the way you dress, you kind of stand out almost as bad as I do, Slade-sensei, said Naruto as he had understood what Slade was doing when he took the items from Naruto's hands and arm. Don't worry, Naruto, I have it covered, said Slade as a symbol of the leaf village of Konoha made itself appear the form of fire on his forehead till it was burned in there from looked like to Naruto, painfully. Cool. Did it hurt when you did that, Slade-sensei? Said Naruto as he didn't want Slade to do something just for him. Your concern is noted, Naruto, and I appreciate it. However, to answer your question, the answer is no, as it's only temporary until we meet with the third Hokage later. Let's go, Naruto, as there is most certainly no rest for the wicked, said Slade, opening the door out of the apartment bedroom to leave with Naruto right beside him before opening the door for the man so he could get through. Moments later, outside, Naruto and Slade walked along the near-empty streets of Konoha, and for the first time in a long time Naruto didn't feel afraid. He wasn't afraid of villagers chasing him or some drunk of a villager trying to throw things at him like stones, sticks, or glass bottles. He was with his sensei, who just so happened to be the Kyuubi, or at least referred to as the Kyuubi. As they walked, the villagers who were still out as well as some ninja looked at the pair walking by with questionable gazes. Though for Naruto, the poor boy still got his share of glares from all of them in the end. They'll be sorry one day, said Naruto in a whisper, clenching his fists in anger as the glares and hatred against him were completely unnecessary. Don't let their hatred get to you like this, Naruto. Block out their anger while channeling yours into determination to achieve your dream, and then when you are ruler of all of this village, they can either accept it when the time come or get they can hell out of here. For now, let them have their fun hating you. Your revenge against them by being the greatest Hokage ever will be all the sweeter when you achieve it with my help, said Slade as he had clearly heard Naruto's whisper as well as the whispers of the villagers and ninja of those they passed by. It was not long till they had reached the destination and found that Naruto's sanctuary that was known as Ichiraku's Ramen in glowing lights above the stand itself. Hey old man. Hey Ayami, said Naruto with a greeting surprising the two at the fact Naruto would come back to them a second time at night and with a guest, a slightly frightening looking guest no less. Hey Naruto. Who this? Said Ayami looking from Naruto to Slade who sat down with the boy putting the box and plastic bag with Naruto's things next to him with his one eye watching them should anyone be daring enough to take Naruto's things. Naruto realized that Ayami may not take to liking the fact that Slade was Kyuubi or that Kyuubi as she would consider him to be was originally inside of him. This is Slade and he's going to be my new guardian and sensei. Soon I can become strong enough to take over Old Man Hokage's job and be Hokage myself someday, said Naruto who found his lie to have more truth to it than he originally thought it would. Slade was slightly surprised himself at how truthful the lie sounded and realized himself that what Naruto said did in fact have more truth to it than he was sure Naruto himself realized when he said it. That is correct. The boy has great potential, but needs a teacher to bring it out of him, said Slade getting some suspicious eyes from both the girl and her father meaning they had apparently heard of Naruto's previous guardians that he had seen himself from the boy's eyes and how they had mistreated the boy. Don't worry Ayami you can trust this one. Slade recently helped me and saved me from some assassin earlier tonight, said Naruto as if it were the most casual thing in the world making the girl and old man become pale for a second at hearing that. You poor kid. Tell you what Naruto to celebrate you surviving such a dreadful thing I'll give you a free large bowl of pork beef ramen tonight on the house for what that assassin tried to do to you. What do you want Slade was it, said Ichiraku as he eyed Slade once more curiously as he could have sworn he heard that name before. Yes it's Slade. As for something to eat I am not hungry at the moment though water or perhaps some soothing warm herbal tea would niece, said Slade knowing that he couldn't remove his mask out of necessity as it was his old human face and it just so happened to be the face he had after he had SD at the hands of terror that Robin had seen as they had ventured into Trigon's domain. Ayami nodded putting down the order even though it would be ready momentarily since herbal tea was so easy to make. Hey Slade sensei I had a question. Just how are we going to see the third Hokage? He's either asleep in the Hokage mansion or swamped in an overnight meeting or with paperwork that goes up to his wrinkly old N, said a now exaggerating Naruto getting a small chuckle from Slade and Ayami though Ayami's was shorter due to her father who was glaring at her. It was understandable for Ayami to expect a glare from her father as there was nothing to laugh at when you are old and you have so much paperwork to do and so little time. Her father remembered that quite well when opening this ramen stand when she was younger and how he looked exhausted from filling it all out, inslacate. Don't worry Naruto if the gods above are anything that I expect of them to be they will interfere in your favor as well as mine sooner than you think, said Slade as he mentally removed his containment jutsu over the fire he had started by Jin's TV set that was in the landlord's room. Within mere moments of doing this the entire level of Naruto's floor where only he and the landlord had lived exploded in a massive fireball that could be seen even from where the ramen stand was. A few minutes later after that the third Hokage was at the ramen stand with a small squadron of Anbu Black Ops units ready for a fight with their ninja weapons drawn. Sooner than you think Naruto. Indeed sooner than you think. Hey, thought Slade as he turned slowly to face the third Hokage, which was something that Naruto had already done after having his eyes go bigger than the bowl of ramen he was eating from the sheer shock of his apartment building and room being blown to hell. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.